this. Let's try 2. Please pair up, please pair up, please pair up. You know, maybe fraction. Nada. Let's try 3. Let's try 4. Oh, 4. Alright, okay, well, let's find something to watch. Okay, it's something. His signal's strong, so I guess we'll stay tuned.
So this is a pretty fancy Dan, I think. It's got a little door here that reveals the ammo, the discs. I had this. I must have had this at some point when I was a kid, because I remember finding just so many of these. I remember all these Spidey coins. It was like my life was a video game, and this was the currency that I had to collect to upgrade my character. Clearly, I didn't get enough of them because I'm rocking horrible stats.
Oh, it's the Spider-Man disc shooter, released in 2002 by Toy Biz. It was probably released to capitalize on the marketing of the first film, although there's nothing referencing the movie on the packaging, as far as I can tell. Let's see what Has My Face has to say about it.
One feature that I don't love is this thing. You see that? See what that's doing? I don't know what that's about. That leads me to believe that, okay, so sure, it needs to be wrist mounted properly, but here's the trouble with that. In order to properly pretend to be Spider-Man, you gotta do this. You gotta hold it like this. This is what they're asking for. As soon as I let that go, you know, I've just shot a web. Love the form factor. Hate this. I feel like it needs a second strap. Actually, you know what? Hold it still. Stay there. You just... All right, hold on. Start it there. By golly, I've improved the design tenfold, just with that. So, you know, I got to throw some shade at the designer of this object, because now it works 15 times better, and that took me a minute.
If memory serves, he's left-handed, but... yeah, I guess the disc shooter could only be worn on the right.
Let's fire it. Let you get a first-person POV here. Oh, baby. It appears to be gravity-fed, right? So that means you got rapid action. Let's see, we got three left in the tube. Okay, this is one downside of my design, is that it's time for this to come off, and it can't.
I think it's fair to say that putting tape on something has never and will never be considered to be the same as designing something.
What we needed was 2 Velcros. So it appears you have 7 of these. I hadn't counted them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? And I think, wait.
Oh my gosh, he actually can't count.
There we go. There are 9 of these. Final answer. Okay, I'm going to give this a 6. Just because this is such a glaring design flaw. It has 2 glaring design flaws. This spacer thing that has no purpose, and the lack of a second strap that would make it fit much better. It shoots well, it shoots fast, it shoots reasonably far. 6 out of 10. Barely a failing grade, but I think it could be better. I love the finish though, I love the look of it. Okay, final answer. Looks 8. Function 7. Price, I don't know, because it's not the 2002 economy anymore. So we're just going to do looks and function. Looks 8, function 6. Final, done, verdict. That's how we're going to go from this point on.
Enlightening commentary from the dropout, oozing with research, clearly. At least it was cool to see it work. Oh, he's got another one. That's the Spider-Man Triple Action Web Blaster. It was released in 2004 as part of the marketing run for Spider-Man 2. It appears to be a modified version of a similar toy released for Spider-Man 1, and they released another revised version for the third movie, but this one is the only to come with a dart launcher. I've got to admit, I do want to see this guy in action.
So here's the thing. As I will show, or as the other one will describe, there is a version of this toy, essentially, for every single Spider-Man movie that came out.
Well, I don't know about every movie, but he's right. A wrist-mounted silly string shooter is an extremely obvious premise for a Spider-Man toy. There was even one released for the animated series in the 90s, before all this. Pairing it with a water gun improved its marketability with parents. Once the first can of silly string ran out, the toy would stop making a mess, and it was still useful as a glorified water gun. Unless, of course, you bought more ammo. Wait, he did buy ammo for this thing, right?
And you might be thinking, hey, Mr. Material, do you have this? Do you have this? Well, let me show you. Okay, well, hold on, strap in. Look what I found. Look what I found for sale in eBay land. I got ammo refills for the 2002 version of this toy, which I will show a graphic of now. So I thought isn't that an interesting thing to see? I'm going to use the loose can. We're going to learn if silly string expires after 22 years. I imagine it wouldn't. It's not food. Only food expires, right? So let's hope that there are no compatibility issues. Oh, Jesus. Now, as per the box, as you can see, it does include a glove. The last time I saw a glove fit like this, someone didn't get in a lot of trouble, and that was kind of a problem.
O.J. Simpson really did wonders for the world of glove comedy.
Okay, so it's kind of cool how this thing works. So I'm a lefty, can go on either hand. This is ambidextrous, right, which I like because I'm a left-handed Spider-Man. You can put different things in there. Oh, yeah. Look at that. No compatibility issues here. This fits like a glove. Well, I mean, the glove didn't fit. The glove part didn't fit, but this part fits in here. This thing is... dare I say I'm excited about this? Let's see if 22-year-old silly string still works in 3, 2, 1. Oh, gosh. What a terrible mess that has made. Oh. Oh. I forgot how amazing this stuff was. Why don't they give this to grown-ups? It's actually, hold on. Has the age made it even more web-like? Why is it so exactly the way I always imagined? Whoa, whoa. Cameraman, it's you. I wasn't expecting to see you here in New York City, the city that I, Spider-Man, protect. That's not a good Spider-Man voice. I'm sorry. I'm still working. Oh, crap. There we go. The fluid in my web shooters hasn't been refreshed in 22 years. I understand why there is a version of this for every movie now. Like, I didn't want to review the same toy over and over again, but that is so hard to beat. And it's just like genuinely kind of a good form factor. Like, looks great. All right, let's go over the other. We shouldn't have started with the coolest thing. Part 2. This is a temperamental little rapscallion. I had to fix this 2 separate times. I think it's age. The rubber gasket in here doesn't make a very good seal, so it has a hard time building up pressure.
Huh. The fasteners on the water gun look like they're made of zinc yellow chromate. That stuff's highly resistant to rust and other kinds of corrosion. It's high-end for a kid's toy.
Anyways, okay. Snaps in, wonderful fit. Pump it up. It's making the right sound. I think we're building up some pressure in there. And, whoa! This thing works better than ever. I'm good at fixing stuff.
Accidentally fixing something is not the same as being good at fixing things.
And the pressure lasts a while, too. I guess this is in perfect condition because I have fixed it. And I would say it works very well. Yeah, I like this thing. One thing that I think this showcases like a different era of toy manufacturing philosophies. Look at this. This weathering. This is plastic, but it's so carefully weathered to look like distressed metal. They don't do that anymore. It convinces you that this is a real thing, that this is something that deserves to be played with and enjoyed, right? This isn't trying to be a prop from the movie because it can't achieve that. You know, this is a new thing. This is a new thing that the children can enjoy. Silly string, yes. Water gun, yes. Yes, my curtain is soaked. Silly string, 10 out of 10. Water gun, 9 out of 10 because I had to fix it, I guess. But I mean, if I had opened this up on Christmas morning, this would be 10 out of 10. The final ingredient.
Pause here and zoom in. It looks like there's a design element left over from the original mechanical web shooter design that was used for the first Spider-Man movie. It's surprising to see it on a toy for the second. They must have been using the same molds at the factory. Alright, let's get back to it.
Install it. Locked in. Oh, gosh, that has a magnificent feel to it. Okay, all right, let's shoot some bad guys. I'm gonna use the suction cups, but there are also foam tipped ones. The suction cup ones have a little spider. Locked in, looking fierce. Cameraman, we meet again. Get out of, I told you once and I'll tell you again, get out of my city. It's under my protection, the protection of the amazing Spider-Man. I will say I was aiming pretty carefully for the camera lens and we didn't nail it. Yeah, it doesn't have a ton of power. I mean, but I guess if it had more power, it would definitely take a child's eye out. I am flabbergasted. There it is. I'm absolutely shocked at how easy it is to just lose one of these little things that the thing shoots out. What's something that this would stick to? Okay, I'm also going to chalk that up to age. The suction cups have kind of worn out. First person action. Oh, you know what? That went a good way. Hi, Mooncake. This part gets a 7 out of 10. Okay, so the triple web action, the Spider-Man 2 triple web action blaster, I give a 10 on quality. Easy. I can swap the parts in and out flawlessly. Everything is secure. It's so secure on my wrist. It feels great to use. Everything lines up. It doesn't feel like in the way. A 10 on fun factor for the silly string alone, and the other two work great too. I'm gonna give it a 9 on looks. And here's why. This weathered metal sets the bar too high for the rest of it. The rest of it looks pretty good, but this looks amazing. And so because of the big, like, they could have done more with this. They could have given this like a metallic finish or something. This feels a little underwhelming next to this. And that's why it gets a 9 and not a 10. But this is hard to beat. That's a tough act to follow.
The design of that device is pretty refined. The swappable interface looks polished, well thought out for sure. Let's see what's next. Oh, this is the Spider-Man 3 Dart Blaster by Hasbro.
Number 3. Could not find this bad boy in box, but it's a Nerf product.
In his defense, Nerf is owned by Hasbro, but this particular product doesn't use any Nerf branding on the packaging.
It's got some real aesthetic properties that I like. The blue and the red have that nice metallic finish, but it feels deluxe. I feel like they don't try to make plastic feel deluxe anymore. They're just like, yeah, it's plastic. You know what you get. One immediate gripe that I have with this thing is this. Again, I know that I'm a grown-up and this is not for me. It's gonna lose like 2 points on design, on like functionality, just for that alone, because that seems like such an obvious oversight. These straps are not the best. Okay, there's one. Whoa, that's not nearly tight enough. Okay, see what I mean? You're gonna make this part for the tiniest wrists on the planet, but then the straps are too loose. So the way this guy works is you pull down. The priming mechanism is the same as the trigger. I think that's a pretty slick design premise. And then let me try to depict what just happened there. It stretches a mile when you do that. You have to push so hard on the button. You have to push so hard on it that your only option is to basically shoot your own fingers.
Is he really having this much trouble firing a child's toy?
The wrist geometry is where this one totally misses the mark for me. It sucks because I love the way it looks. It looks like such a thing. It's got such a vibe. And I really appreciate that it's got ammo storage. I got 3 shots. Right. But if I brace it with this hand, I can shoot it without issue. Ooh, that had power. That had heat. Ooh, best range of the bunch so far. So where do I want to land with this guy? I would say aesthetics. This is a solid 8. This is a solid 8, I think, on aesthetics. You know, the 2 points it loses is because it feels phallic in a way that I think is avoidable. I think there are some simple mediation strategies that the designers could have used to make this just a bit less phallic than it is. And then function, I docked 2 points for the wrist thing alone. I gotta dock another point for the fact that this plunger has too much resistance on it to press, which is kind of just still a wrist problem. Like, it's not too much resistance for my fingers, it's just too much resistance for these straps. And it's got a good sound to it. It's a very efficient little Nerf device. I think it's a 7. I think if I'm being fair and reasonable, it's a 7. I kind of want to give it an 8 because I feel weirdly attached to this one, but I think it's a 7. If you want, check this out. I've got a weird talent with Nerf darts, with suction cup Nerf darts. All right, check this out. No dart shooters here. Just my own prowess. Ooh.
Talent was a very strong word.
Right for what I was aiming for, that left-hand island. Never mind the fact that the frame broke a little bit. If anything, that just shows the power, the velocity that I threw that with. 8 for aesthetics, 7 for function. Respectable, but not the best. Bye-bye, Tobey Maguire. Hello, Andrew Garfield.
Next we have the Amazing Spider-Man Rapid Fire Blaster. The Andrew Garfield movies marked a change in tone and art direction for the series. I wonder if that's reflected in the toy line.
Distinctly advertised as being able to be fired rapidly. It shoots 15 feet, which is, if it shoots 15 feet, then it should just about make it to the wall. It should probably have a similar range to what the Nerf shooter that we just explored had. And it shoots 5 web missiles, which let the record show, is the same number of web missiles that the Spider-Man 2 dart blaster fired.
Yes, I know. I can count.
Oh, there are the darts. You can see they're not quite perfectly silver. There's a little bit of color there, which I'm into. Points for that. Let's get the real MacGuffin out here. Oh, interesting. I was not expecting this to be a revolver. Wait a minute, that's... Oh my goodness gracious, can you see that? It's almost too fast for the camera to catch.
It's not even close to being too fast for the camera to catch.
Oh yeah, because it's a small... So this cylinder is way smaller, right? So you got to think about... The cylinder is this big. It's not this big, it's this big.
Oh, I see. So the cylinder is this big. That's good to know. You know, you should really give TED Talks.
It's designed to be progressed by hand like that, so that you can load it up. Impressions on the design? I'm getting like a Halloween candy bucket, you know? It does feel a little low effort. on that front. They took some opportunities to create texture, but they didn't really mess with the overall like silhouette of this thing enough. And I just, you know, that should be blue, I think. Again, we're at a point in toy design where they stopped trying to hide that plastic is a terrible material, right? They just let the injection molding sing there. I don't know. It's fine. It's good. It's all right. But I don't love it. But I do love the fact that it is a revolver. And I'm right out of the gate, I think they have improved the strap technology dramatically. See, that's secure. And then the other strap just helps keep it aligned. But let's see, let's just... Okay. Very clean, kind of understated sensation that you get from shooting that. Mooncake's into it. But now let's see how rapid fire it is, because they're kind of flexing when they say rapid fire, considering it's a revolver mechanism. That means that it progresses and shoots really quickly. Cameraman, slow down. I'll be forced to use all 5 web shots in my arsenal to stop you. Golly gee willikers, that was pretty darn cool. Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna go cowboy style. Whoa! They were not lying. This gets a 10 out of 10 for function. They say right on the box 15 feet. It does 15 feet. And honestly, they shoot pretty straight. And boy, is it rapid fire. That's the thing. That's like, right? That's what it sells you on. Rapid fire web shooter. 5 shots as fast as you can shoot them. 15 feet of range. Check. 10 out of 10. For form, I'm going to give it a 6. And that's not me balancing out the 10 out of 10 for form. I was looking at it just now, and you know why I decided to give it a 6? Because the plastic that they made the trigger out of, very clearly, like a different shade of red, like made of a different kind of stuff. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's very clear to me that it's like a pinker shade of red than the rest of it.
I see you're the guy they call when nits need to be picked.
It makes me feel like this part is going to break first, and then I'm going to have a very cool looking paperweight on my hands. I gotta say, a web shooter that loads up like a revolver, that I can rapid fire like a cowboy in the Wild Wild West, is something that I did not know that I needed. Like, the marketing guys nailed it with this. Okay, so looky here. We got a little bit of a Amazing Spider-Man 2 Spider-Shot Web Fluid Spiral Blast Web Shooter.
This looks like another silly string launcher, but this one's for the Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's kind of a fun movie, but it was definitely killed by studio interference. Sony still hasn't learned the lesson that movie should have taught them.
When I first set out to make this video, I promised myself that I wouldn't get toys that seemed redundant with each other, that seemed like they were basically the same design. With this, however, I made an exception, because this is a 2-in-1 web and water shooter. But this one specifically, I felt like I had to get, because it has a crank on it.
Wait, what?
It has a crank like a Jack-in-the-Box. And I think I know what it's for, and I think I know how it would work, but I just want to see what design advantages or disadvantages this crank has. Thanks. Where are we trapped? Where are we contained? You hear that? There's a rattle sound. Oh my God. Now I know what the crank is for. Because I realized, like, okay, so it pumps, it's the same design. It's the same design as the other one. It pumps, this is how it pumps the water bottle. But the crank allows you to spin. I don't know if I have a good way to show you that. This spins this barrel, and it has 2 outputs. So I would assume that if you shoot it while you crank it, then everything twists together, I guess, and does something cool. maybe. I'm gonna give this like a 5 for looks. Like this, it's just junk. It just feels like junk. There's no real attempt made here. They'll work. It's functional, but just, and you can, right? It's brand new and every part of this thing makes noise like maracas. There's some effort put into this piece, but what is this teal? It's a beautiful shade of seafoam green. How does this color fit into this equation? Yeah, this gets a 4. I'm sure a kid would love it. Maybe I'm being too hard on it, but like this, ugh.
I would say you're being too harsh, but honestly, I'm not sure that critiquing the aesthetics of a kid's toy is punching down in your case.
The other toys have set a very high bar, but this, I don't love it. Oh, wait. So they really make you work for it. Wait. What's going on here?
You gotta take the cap off the silly string.
What the hell? Oh, no. That's the gearbox. I'm in the gearbox now. That's not what I want.
Take that little plastic cap off.
Does this cap not do anything? Do I fully remove this? And do that? Oh.
There you go.
Okay, I think we figured it out. Let's give it a good shake. Spider-Man. Okay, let's give it a thwip. What? I guess they made better silly string in 2002 than they did in 2012. This has 10 years advantage on the other ones. Whoa, come on. Come back to life. It doesn't want it. It doesn't want to live anymore. Come on, would you do it for a Scooby snack? And honestly, it's like, oh, it's got a horrible smell that the other silly string did not have. Okay, I think I've fixed it here. Come on. Oh, maybe this is why this comes off. Wait, hold on. That goes on there. Okay, so that's why they let you do that. The silly string seems to be fixed. Oh. Oh, hello. It wants to bounce back. Oh, hello. Jackpot. Whoa, the coverage. All right, hold on. This might be a cool shot. Cameraman, I will surely ensnare you now with this operation. Okay. All right. Wait a minute. Let me take a picture. Let me take a picture of that. I see the vision now. I see it. Sorry, I couldn't find my phone because I have the attention span of a gnat, and I don't know where I put it.
Gnats are pretty diligent, actually, especially if there's a piece of fruit in the room.
So that's remarkable. That's pretty remarkable. I can't really fault the toy for the bad silly string. Well, you know what? I'm going to for no other reason than the fact that the 22-year-old silly string worked flawlessly, and this stuff took so much coaxing to make it work. I barely shook the 22-year-old stuff too. Let's see if this bad boy will shoot some water finally. Okay, wow, look at that. It has a comparable range to the other one. It does shoot 2 streams though. Let's see how the spin functionality works. It is too fast to perceive with the naked eye, but okay, I will say, in a water gun fight, this would kind of be an atom bomb.
Okay, that sounds like a profound exaggeration.
That's cool. It's pretty cool. It makes a really nice ring. I don't think you can see that, but it makes an exquisite little ring. I gotta alleviate all the pressure. Try to send it into this Baja Blast can. There we go. The silly string thing, you need a specific size, and there's like an alignment function to it that I think you'd be hard pressed to make this work with a different can of silly string. Function, it came back from Oblivion. So I'm gonna give it a 7. I'm gonna give it a 7, good, strong, respectable score, but no more, no less, honestly. Boy, interesting journey that it took us on, you know? Interesting journey at the very least. Out with the Garfield, in with the Holland. These are pretty interesting. I did confirm these came out in 2017.
Spider-Man Homecoming, Marvel Studios' first crack at a live-action Spider-Man movie. Not my favorite of the bunch, but admittedly not without its merits. Let's see if a serviceable movie makes for a serviceable toy.
And they're the only one of the bunch. Comes with two of these bad boys, these wrist-mounted web shooters. They've got a good fit. These are honestly the only ones that feel even remotely accurate from a sizing standpoint. You know, like these are trying to be film props. Surprisingly good amount of detail on it. You've got a little silver nozzle. You've got a little bit of the costume. There's nice texture. Contrary to a lot of the others made past the Tobey Maguire era, this feels nice. They feel like nice plastic. Boom, so there we go. We got two of them. Now the projectiles, and so you've got similar to the Spider-Man 3 dart shooter, you've got two ammo storage slots, and then you just kind of. So that's what we're working with.
Hey, blue and gold, nice colors.
You can. I think they spin though, so I bet they shoot a little further if you do it flat. A little further. These might have the worst range, hi Mooncake, of any of the bunch. I will say though, fun to load, and honestly, kind of a cool design. There is like a gear tooth here, and it will spin itself as it ejects. And I think if you get it just right, you do get a kind of helicopter effect. Cameraman, I'm surprised you're still standing after so many chance encounters with me. The amazing, the regular, the no surname, the amazing, and the homecoming Spider-Man.
Okay, the cameraman bit wasn't really working the first time. Now it's getting difficult to watch you do this.
But now I assure you, with these Ninja Star-esque webbing projectiles shot out of my latest web shooters, you will surely be indisposed. Prepare. Ha! Ha! Bah! What? Ho! What? You know, they don't overwhelm me. They don't sparkle. Where do I want to land with these? Looks, aesthetics. I want to give these an 8, and here's why. Here's why I want to give them an 8. Because these are like, without the webs, these are like almost cosplay ready, with how detailed they are and how close they look to a real thing. And I like that about them. So for function / design, I'm gonna give these a 7. Points because it's unique and it's cool that it manages to like spin the web and you got the ammo storage and like the strap works well and clearly they thought about it. Points lost because it does kind of impair range of motion. I wish that this could flex up more so that I could move my hands better. And also because it just doesn't shoot very far. But it feels good. It feels good. I would not be sad to open this on Christmas. Okay, now this is another Nerf product. For what it's worth, Spider-Man Far From Home is my least favorite of all of these films to sit down and watch.
Lots of fun ideas, but not many that felt right for Spider-Man. And, it's kind of like how an arm-mounted crossbow doesn't really feel right for Spider-Man.
And this was the most sort of unique-looking, distinct toy from this specific film's marketing run that I could find. It's got like a crossbow thing going on. Okay, so that's interesting. That's something that we're not going to be able to talk about, I guess. Is that this is a whole infrastructure of different devices that can, I guess, mount onto this Spider-Man web shot blaster. It is specifically shown being worn over top of the wrist, which I find to be an interesting choice. But then again, it is very big and it is very crossbow-esque in the way it looks, so it kind of makes sense. I will kind of deduct some points, though. I will kind of deduct some points for the fact that this only comes with 3 darts. And I know that it is theoretically only capable of shooting 3 darts. I feel like Nerf is deliberately stingy with dart supply because they know we lose them, probably cost 5 cents to make or less. I just wish that we could get our hands on more Nerf darts when we buy a brand spanking new Nerf product and not the bare minimum, so that the second we lose one, we're down a dart.
I think that the people of your world have larger concerns than how many Nerf darts you get with a toy.
Some assembly required here. I will point out this is a real elastic material that kind of feels the part of like webbing. Just pull it tight, I guess. Okay, now that's permanently bonded. Now we're ready for combat. Ow, gosh. When I open my hand, some part of this bone on my wrist, when I open my hand, this thing like, okay, I think it's settled in, but oh no, when I move it just so, it digs into this bone. Oh gosh, it's not horrible, but it's like, it's weird because it doesn't happen consistently, and it is a pretty sharp sensation.
Oh, stop being a baby.
Look, I'm not saying I can't handle it. I'm just saying that during a Nerf war, I want as few distractions as possible, and I don't want this random... Yeah, loosening the strap hasn't really helped, actually. But other than that, it's secure. It feels right, I guess. But, and then I guess I can see a really obvious attachment point where some other stuff would want to interlock with this. But so really anything that interacts with this is just going to be a pack that sits on top that makes this whole thing even larger. Boy, you'd really want to fire it by doing this, wouldn't you? But ow, gosh. You'd really want to fire it by doing this, by like flexing your hand down. It's me, Spider-Man. It does have some power. Cameraman. It's me, Spider-Man. I have lost the ability to stick to walls due to this enormous crossbow that I've mounted onto my wrist. I will now use it to fire a high-velocity round directly through your skull, because that's what Spider-Man does. Stand by, cameraman. Did that hit you, cameraman? Golly, it would be very helpful if this had sights of any kind. But I would predict that this one has the longest range. It just seems so silly that you would need to use 2 hands, though. Let's do a power comparison between these two. Put the bullet in the same position. Final verdict on these. This one gets this one's score minus 1 point for quality / construction / whatever the non-aesthetic category is.
You invented the categories. Why are they confusing you?
I think the aesthetics of these are totally comparable from an effort standpoint. I'm taking 1 point off on engineering / performance / function. This one is designed to only be fired with 2 hands. There's not a way to fire this with 1 hand. And I think there very easily could be, considering that this handle completely ties up this hand, just for the sake of stability, really. I think you could very easily make this the firing mechanism. I didn't dislike this one as much as I thought. I think this is still a respectable entry. It's the closest I could find for this movie, but I would say it's not quite a web shooter. Okie dokie. Last but not least, or maybe last and least, who can say? Spider-Man, No Way Home, Thwip-Shot.
No Way Home. That was a stellar course correction for the Tom Holland films, and one that ceremoniously united every franchise into one shockingly cohesive and thoughtful movie. It's definitely one of my favorites. I've got high hopes for this one.
Based on the back of the box, Spider-Man No Way Home has a similar sort of crossbow thing, and this seems to interface with that. It's its own standalone thing, but it seems like you can kind of lock them together. I'm not sure what the point of that would be. because you would be taking this whole thing off your wrist and then mounting it to an object that is on your opposite wrist. Open this bad boy up. Oh, interesting. I do not expect these to be floppy, but the projectiles are like some kind of rubber silicone or something. They're very... there's not a single piece of rigid plastic on them. That snaps in nicely. It's got a real slingshot kind of vibe to it. And I can wear it. Wait. No way, Jose. Come on, you guys. This is about to be the worst of the bunch, I think.
What?
Let me repeat that for you. That's how that sits. And to fire, you just... Oh, come on. Come on. No.
No.
No. The only thing that has... And wait, I'm going to help this thing where I can. The projectiles are kind of cool. Each one's different. Each one has a different cutout. They're nicely detailed. They've got little gold flecks, which is neat.
You don't buy a web shooter to admire the projectiles.
This is the worst thing I've put on my wrist for this video. So just to articulate, there's no movement here at all. This is a rigid piece of plastic. It serves no mechanical function.
You can't even thwip.
Which also means that it completely binds my wrist and I cannot move my hand forward without breaking the toy. This has no lock. Everything is done. All of the magic happens in the projectile. You lock it in and you pull back until at a random point it will decide to fling itself off. These don't stick to anything. They don't travel very far. They have a very sad sort of like end over end topple that they do. The range on this thing, even worse than the range on the Spider-Man Homecoming toy that was smaller and fit better and looked better than this.
I think I could make a better web shooter out of a spoon and some scrap rubber.
But I think it's just, your whole firing mechanism is just dependent on where this piece of silicone wants to let go. This is like a Happy Meal toy. This is like a McDonald's toy. I'm not even going to do the cameraman role play. I'm not even going to do it because cameraman deserves better than this.
Oh, cameraman just wins. Cameraman beats this Spider-Man.
Cameraman can destroy the city if I'm Spider-Man and this is what I'm bringing to the table. I love No Way Home as a film. I hate this thing. I might not even keep this after I finish this video. This might go straight in the trash. If there is a better Spider-Man No Way Home web shooter toy that y'all know of, tell me about it. I thought this one looked, again, like it had a unique design, but I didn't realize that the unique design was just how cheaply and poorly can we make this. Horrible.
Rotten to the core.
All the way through. There's nothing nice looking about this. So for aesthetics and design, I'm going to give it like a 3. I'm going to give it a 3 because it doesn't hurt my eyes. There's some nice detail here that they didn't have to do, I guess, where it looks like circuitry down there. That's nice. For function, I'm giving this a 2. This, like, really, there's just nothing to it at all. It feels like something they would sell with a McDonald's Happy Meal, both in its overall build integrity and on the principle on which it fires a projectile. Boy, what a bummer. What a bummer.
Huh. All right, then. That was a pretty successful test, if I do say so myself. And I took the time to write down the numbers Nimrod was spewing out. So, in conclusion, I guess, this is how the Spider-Man films rank based solely on their most unique web shooter toy. Yeah, what a weird and terrible ranking it is.